My name is Brian Foster. As far back as I can remember, my parents were just a blur of motion, always out the door, always chasing another paycheck. They were rarely home to spend time with me and my sister. My sister's name is Jessica. She's only 4 years older than me, but from a young age, she took on the responsibility of looking after me. In those years, she was the one who made sure I ate, who got me ready for school, who tucked me in at night. Every little thing she did was an act of love. In my heart, she wasn't just my sister. She was more like a mother, the guardian of my childhood. When I graduated from college, I had a full-ride scholarship waiting for me to start my master's at Northwestern. My grades were more than good enough to keep me on the academic track. But every time I saw Jess, buried in work for the company, with those exhausted eyes and the dark circles that never seemed to fade, my resolve would soften. The truth is, I'd been helping out with the family business since my sophomore year, juggling classes and conference calls. I knew exactly how heavy the weight on her shoulders was. So, I turned down the scholarship. I decided to go all in at the company and help her carry the load. 2 months after I graduated, Jess turned 25. But of course, a major deal was set to be negotiated right around her birthday. I couldn't stand the thought of her working on her one special day, so I pushed her to go out and celebrate. I told her I'd handle the deal. Brian, this project is no joke. Are you sure you can handle it? Jess looked at me, her face a mask of concern. This isn't some small-time client. You've never led a negotiation this big on your own. Jess, come on. Trust me, I said, giving my chest a confident pat. I haven't just been sitting around these past few years. I'll learn a thing or two. You've done so much for me. Think of this as a little payback. Go have fun. Seriously, relax for once. All right, she said, still hesitant, her brow furrowed. But my determined look must have convinced her, because she finally nodded. But if you run into any trouble, you call me. Immediately. Don't try to be a hero. To my surprise, the negotiation went incredibly smoothly. The other company loved our proposal and our terms, and they signed a long-term partnership agreement on the spot. I had just walked the clients to their car and was pulling out my phone to call Jess with the good news when it rang. It was her number, but the voice on the other end was a woman I didn't recognize. Hi, is this Brian Foster? Your sister's had a little too much to drink. Could you come pick her up? The woman's voice was melodic and warm. Yeah, of course. I'm on my way, I said, already sprinting toward the parking garage. I flew out onto the street, my heart racing as I headed for the downtown bar where her party was. The second I walked into the private room, I saw Jess slumped on a couch, her eyes hazy and unfocused. And sitting next to her was a woman who was like a sudden, brilliant flash of light, instantly capturing my entire attention. She had long, glossy black hair that cascaded like a waterfall over the white skin of her shoulders. Her face was so exquisitely sculpted it looked like a work of art, with a smooth, high forehead and delicate, arched brows that gave her a playful yet sophisticated air. Her almond-shaped eyes were deep and luminous, like the brightest stars in the night sky, and her lips were the soft, perfect pink of a flower petal, slightly parted in a way that was naturally alluring. Hi, you must be Brian, she said when she saw me, a flicker of pleasant surprise in her eyes as she offered a warm greeting. Her voice was like a cool mountain spring, clear and sweet, flowing straight into me and making my heart beat a frantic rhythm against my ribs. She was wearing a pale blue sundress that showed off her long, slender legs. They were flawless, sculpted and smooth, radiating a captivating charm. She possessed an air of sophisticated grace, mixed with a vibrant, youthful energy. She was so beautiful it was breathtaking. Once you saw her, you couldn't look away. Yeah, that's me. Hi, and you are. I felt my pulse skyrocket and a hot blush creep up my neck. I could barely get the words out. I'm Sophia Reed, she said, smiling at me, revealing a set of perfect, white teeth. Hi, Sophia. Could I get your number? My head was spinning, my heart pounding like a drum. I had to force the words out. I watched her, my breath caught in my throat, my palms slick with sweat. Sophia seemed a little taken aback, a hint of surprise in her eyes, but then she smiled and pulled out her phone. Of course. I excitedly fumbled for my own phone, and we exchanged numbers. Her contact photo was a selfie, taken in front of what looked like a floor-to-ceiling window at sunset. The golden hour light bathed her in a warm glow, making her look like a classic portrait and a modern fashion model all at once. Just then, Jess's best friend, Chloe, tugged on my sleeve, looking like she wanted to say something. But before she could, Jess stirred. She saw me, stood up, and swayed over, collapsing against me. "Brian," she mumbled, "you're here. Take me home." I had to say a quick goodbye to everyone else and start helping my sister toward the door. "Talk to you later," I said, glancing back at Sophia with a hopeful smile. "Okay," she replied, nodding with a smile of her own. She didn't say no. On the drive home, my mind was filled with nothing but Sophia. Every smile, every small gesture replayed in a continuous loop. It felt like my heart was in a vice, my thoughts completely consumed by her. Nothing else existed. After I got Jess in her room and settled in, I went to mine and immediately pulled out my phone to text Sophia. "Me. Hey, it's Brian. It was great to meet you. Maybe we can talk again sometime." I sent it and immediately started pacing, my stomach in knots. I was worried I was coming on too strong, that I'd scare her off. Less than a minute later, my phone buzzed. "Sophia, it was great meeting you too," smiley face. "Me. You were seriously beautiful tonight. I couldn't take my eyes off you the second I walked in." "Sophia. Haha, you're a smooth talker. You're pretty handsome yourself." "Me, really? I was worried you thought I was being too forward." I felt a little embarrassed. I never talked this much with a girl my age who wasn't my sister. "Sophia. Not at all. I could tell you were being sincere. I wasn't sure if she was just being nice." "Me. So what do you like to do?" I scrambled for another topic. "Sophia. I like to read, listen to music, paint a little sometimes." "You?" A pretty standard answer. "Me. I love to read too, but I really love cooking. Seeing ingredients turn into a great dish feels like creating a piece of art. I learned to cook mostly because I was worried Jess wouldn't eat properly on her own." "Sophia. Cooking? That's amazing. You sound like someone who really knows how to enjoy life. What's your best dish?" She seemed genuinely interested. "Me. By the way, do you like Italian food?" I wanted to ask her out for the next day and was probing for what she liked. "Sophia, love it." "Me. Are you free tomorrow? Would you want to get dinner?" I held my breath after hitting send. "Sophia. I'd love to. Where should we go? We can figure out tomorrow." I was so thrilled I barely slept that night. I just lay in bed, rereading our texts, imagining our date, a stupid grin plastered on my face. The next day, after we'd settled on an Italian place downtown, I spent way too long picking out an outfit. I finally landed on a light blue button-down and cream-colored chinos, clean and sharp, but still casual. I stood in front of the mirror, adjusting my collar and cuffs, wanting to look my absolute best for her. I got to the restaurant early and picked a table by the window with a view of the street. The afternoon sun streamed in, creating a warm, romantic glow. I sat there, checking my watch every 30 seconds, a nervous, excited energy buzzing through me. A moment later, a faint scent of jasmine drifted past me. I turned, and there was Sophia, looking like she had stepped right out of painting. Today she was wearing a cream-colored dress made of fabric, so light it seemed to float around her as she walked. It was adorned with a subtle floral pattern that made it look as though real flowers were blooming across the fabric. She wore no makeup, yet she had a natural, fresh-faced beauty. Her almond eyes sparkled like polished obsidian, and my gaze felt glued to her, unable to move. "Sophia, you look amazing," I said, a bit shyly, as I stood up to greet her. "Thanks. You look great, too," she answered with a smile that felt like sunshine. We ordered our food and started talking as we ate. "So, how do you and my sister know each other?" I asked, my curiosity getting the best of me. "Us? Oh, we've known each other since elementary school," she said with a laugh, a nostalgic glimmer in her eyes. "I started school a year early, and your sister started a year late, so we were in the same grade. From day one, we were rivals. Everything was a competition, grades, teachers' pets, school clubs. We were always trying to one-up each other." "Wow, so your relationship is unique," I said, choosing my words carefully. It was then that it hit me. I remembered Jess mentioning a Sophia Reed before, her arch-nemesis, the one she'd been competing with her entire life. But if they were such bitter rivals, why was Sophia at Jess's birthday party? "Brian," Sophia said, her smile fading into a look of resignation. "Do you like me?" I stared at her, my heart hammering against my ribs, a wave of heat rising in my face. I never expected her to be so direct. Sophia, I do. I like you a lot, I said, summoning my courage and looking her straight in the eye. From the moment I saw you, I couldn't look away. You feel like this bright light that just walked into my life, and now I can't think about anything else. Brian, you have to understand. My history with your sister is complicated, she said, looking down, a wry smile on her lips. I don't want to be the reason you two have a falling out. Sophia, I don't want things to get messy either. But I hope Jess can understand how I feel about you. I'll try to talk to her, to explain, I said urgently, reaching across the table to take her hand. Her hand trembled slightly in mine, but she didn't pull away. She just looked up at me. Brian, your sister loves you more than anything. She might not be able to accept us being together. If we push this, she could get really hurt. I know how much she cares about me, but I don't want to give up on you, I said, my eyes pleading. There has to be a way to make this work, right? Sophia was quiet for a moment, a conflict playing out in her eyes. Then she spoke softly. Brian, I don't want to give up on you either. Your honesty and your conviction, they've touched me. But for now, we can't let your sister know about us. It'll only make things spiral out of control. We have to take it slow and find the right time to tell her. Okay, Sophia, I'll listen to you, I said, nodding emphatically. We'll keep it between us for now. When the time is right, I'll sit her down and make her understand. Good. I hope we can get through this, she said with a small, relieved smile. We'll have to be extra careful. I will be, Sophia. I know that if we work together, Jess will eventually come around. I squeezed her hand, feeling like I was making a sacred vow. I hope so. This might be hard for a while, but I'm willing to face it with you, she said, her gaze full of affection and resolve. And please, don't call me Sophia. It feels so formal. Just call me Soph. I can't do that, I said, leaning closer to her. I boldly wrapped an arm around her slim waist, feeling the warmth of her body against mine. My heart felt like it was going to burst. Why not? Sophia's body stiffened for a second, a blush creeping up to her ears, but she didn't push me away. Soph, I whispered, kissing her on the cheek. That's not intimate enough. How about Angel? Her face turned an even deeper shade of red, but her lips curved into a smile and her eyes filled with a sweet, happy light. You're getting bold. She gave me a playful look, but let me hold her, resting her head on my shoulder. We stayed like that, holding each other in a quiet embrace, as if time itself had stopped just for us. Breathing in her delicate jasmine scent, I felt like my heart was dissolving in honey. You know, I whispered into her ear, my warm breath tickling her skin. This feeling is incredible. I've never wanted someone like this. Just being with you makes me feel ridiculously happy. You and your sweet talk, she murmured, tilting her head up to look at me, her eyes shining. But I like it, being with you. It's like all my worries just disappear. But we still have to be careful. We can't let Jess find out. I know, Soph. I'll be careful. I'm not letting our happiness slip away this easily, I said, holding her tighter, as if I could merge her into me. You know, yesterday when I asked for your number, I felt like I was looking at an actual angel. That feeling, I could still feel my heart racing just thinking about it. Of course I remember, she recalled with a soft smile. You were so adorable, all flustered and blushing, asking for my number. We held each other for a long time, lost in the sweet, warm bubble of the moment, as if we were the only two people in the world. The more time I spent with Sophia, the deeper I fell for her. She had an amazing temperament. No matter what happened, she was always calm and composed, never losing her temper. In our relationship, she was completely devoted. When she was with me, her world narrowed to just me. She was graceful and maintained a respectful distance with other guys, never leaving room for misunderstanding. On top of all that, she was brilliant at her job. In the 2 years since she'd taken over a struggling division of her family's company, she turned every single department from a money pit into a profit center. This just made me more confused. Both Jess and Sophia were incredible people. Why on earth were they such bitter rivals? One day, Jess had to go out of town for a business trip, so I asked Sophia to go for a walk with me in Lincoln Park. I gently took her hand. It was soft and warm like polished jade. Our fingers intertwined, a silent connection binding us together. Brian, you know, every moment I'm with you, The world just seems brighter, Sophia said, looking up at me. Her almond eyes glowed with a warmth that outshone the setting sun. Soph, me too, I said, stopping to turn and face her, my hands on her shoulders. I looked deep in her eyes. You're the light of my life. You've illuminated every dark corner. I love you. Brian, I love you too, she said, a surprised joy lighting up her face. She threw her arms around me and held me tight. I've never felt this way about anyone before. Every time I told her I loved her, she would light up with happiness. I had this strange feeling that her feelings for me didn't just start recently. I felt like they went back further, but I didn't know when or how. She hadn't told me, and I hadn't asked. I figured she would tell me when she was ready. What are you thinking about? Sophia asked, waving a hand in front of my face as I stared out at the lagoon. Just you, Soph? Always you, I said, pulling her into an embrace and kissing her soft cheek. I held her close, breathing in the scent of her hair, feeling her heartbeat against mine. In that moment, I was the luckiest man in the world. You're ridiculous, she said, playfully tapping my chest. But I love hearing it. It's the truth. You're like the first ray of sunshine in the morning, filling me with hope, I said, kissing her hand. Hey, how's work been? You seemed a little tired lately. We have a new project that requires coordinating with a few other departments. A lot of meetings, but we'll get it done, she said, her brow briefly knitting before smoothing out. What about you? Anything interesting happen? I learned how to make duck confit. I'll make it for you sometime. I even looked up plating techniques to make it look fancy. I was already picturing her happy expression as she tasted it. Really? I can't wait. I bet anything you make is delicious, she said, her eyes full of anticipation. We continued our walk along the water, watching the fish swim lazily in the lagoon. Look at those fish, Soph, I said thoughtfully. They're so free. Sometimes I wish we could be like that, without any outside drama, just us. That would be nice, she said, leaning against me. But we have to cherish what we have now, don't we? Even just walking here with you like this. It makes me so happy. You're right. We have to. And one day, when Jess is okay with us, we won't have to sneak around anymore. I want to tell the whole world you're my girlfriend, I said, tightening my arm around her shoulder. I'm looking forward to that day too, Sophia smiled. But there's something special about these stolen moments, isn't there? But you can't keep a secret forever. One day, out of the blue, Jess asked me, Brian, are you seeing someone? No, why would you ask that? I said, my heart leaping into my throat. I try to sound casual. I don't know, you've just been acting weird lately. Always sneaking glances at your phone, going out all the time. Something's up, she said, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. I'm just hanging out with friends, Jess, that's all, I said, unable to meet her gaze. I gripped my phone tighter in my pocket. She didn't press it, but I knew she didn't believe me. After that, Sophia and I had to be even more careful. Every time I left the house, I double-checked to make sure Jess wasn't around. One night, Sophia and I went to see a movie. As we were leaving, I spotted one of Jess's friends heading our way. My stomach dropped. I grabbed Sophia's hand and pulled her toward another exit. Brian, we can't keep doing this. We can't hide from your sister forever, Sophia said as we sat in the back of an Uber, her face etched with frustration. I know. I'll find the right time to tell her, I said, trying to reassure her, though I had no idea when that right time would ever come. But it feels like we're doing something wrong, sneaking around like this, she said, her brow furrowed with worry. If she finds out on her own, she's going to be even angrier. I know, Soph, but right now, she's completely against the idea of us. If we just drop it on her, it could make things 100 times worse. Let's just wait a little longer for the right opening. I squeezed her hand, trying to calm her fears. Things took an unexpected turn, however, when Jess started dating our childhood friend, Ethan Hayes. With a new boyfriend to focus on, she paid a little less attention to me. I used the excuse that I didn't want to be a third wheel and moved out to live with Sophia. Finally, our own place. We can be together without having to hide, Sophia said excitedly on moving day. No more secrets. Just us, I said, spinning her around in the empty living room, my heart full of joy. Living with Sophia, I discovered a sweetness so intense it felt like it could melt me. I found out that the woman who seemed so cool and untouchable in public was actually an absolute sweetheart behind closed doors. She'd wrap her arms around me from behind while I was cooking, resting her head on my back. She'd curl up in my lap while I was reading, asking questions about the book. One night, moonlight streamed through the window, bathing our living room in a silvery glow. Sophia and I were tangled up in bed, and she was curled against me like a contented cat. I gently rolled her onto her back, my hand stroking her silky hair as our eyes met, full of a love so deep it felt like the rest of the world had faded away. My hand drifted lower, my fingers brushing against the soft swell of her breast. I felt her tremble, and a playful impulse made me gently squeeze. Sophia's body shivered, and a blush crept across her cheeks and down to her neck. "Brian, you're terrible," she whispered, but there was no anger in her voice, only a sweet, breathless surrender. She didn't resist, letting my hand rest where it was. "Only for you," I murmured, my own love for her burning hotter. I lowered my head, burying my face in the warm, soft space between her breasts, inhaling her sweet, floral scent. Just as the moment was building, as we were about to lose ourselves completely, my phone buzzed on the nightstand, shattering the mood. I grabbed it and my heart seized. It was Jess. I looked at Sophia, and she looked back at me, her eyes wide with panic. I took a deep breath, sat up, and tried to compose myself before answering. "Hey, Jess," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Brian, what are you doing?" she asked. Just relaxing, Jess." "What?" My answer felt weak. "Oh, how are things? And what's wrong with your voice?" "Probably just woke up from a nap. My throat's a little scratchy," I said, clearing my throat. "I'm good. How are you?" "I'm fine. Hey, I was out shopping today and saw a shirt that would look great on you, so I bought it. You can pick it up next time you're over." Her voice was full of its usual warmth and care. "Thanks, Jess. You're always thinking of me," I said, touched, but also terrified she was about to suggest coming over. "We're family, of course I do. By the way, are you sure there's nothing you're hiding from me?" Her tone suddenly sharpened. "Jess, what would I be hiding from you?" "Stop being paranoid," I said, my heart pounding. I glanced at Sophia, who was watching me anxiously. "You better not be," she warned, "because if I find out you're hiding something from me, you'll be in deep trouble." I know. Stop worrying about me and go have fun with Ethan," I said, trying to change the subject. "We're great. He's so good to me. Anyway, speaking of which, come over for dinner tomorrow. It's been too long." "Okay, Jess. I'll be there. Talk to you then." After I hung up, I collapsed back onto the bed with a long sigh. "Brian, does she know something?" Sophia asked, her voice laced with worry. "I don't think so, but she's definitely suspicious. We have to be even more careful," I said, pulling her into my arms. "So what do we do now?" she asked, looking up at me. "We stick to the plan. We wait until she and Ethan are a little more serious. Then we find the right moment to tell her. In the meantime, we lay low." "Okay," she said with a sigh. "I just hope she can understand when the time comes." A month passed. Sophia and I settled into a beautiful routine, our love growing stronger with every shared meal, every movie night, every walk through the city. But the shadow of Jess's disapproval always loomed over us. One Saturday, Sophia and I were at the mall when I suddenly saw Jess and Ethan just a few stores down. I grabbed Sophia's arm and pulled her into an alcove, my heart pounding against my ribs. "Brian, are we going to hide from her again? When is this going to end?" "I'm so tired of this," Sophia said, her voice trembling. Tears welled in her eyes, threatening to spill over. "I know this sucks, but if we walk out there now, she'll lose it, and things will completely blow up," I said, sighing, my own frustration mounting. "Then what do we do? I don't want to live like a criminal, sneaking around. And I hate that I'm coming between you and your sister. You two are family," she said, her expression a mix of sorrow and guilt. "I need to figure out a way to fix this." "Maybe she just needs more time," I said, squeezing her hand, trying to comfort both of us. But it was too late. Jess and Ethan were walking toward us. She must have spotted us. Her face twisted into a mask of fury. "Brian Foster. I knew it. I knew you were with her," she yelled, her voice echoing in the busy mall. Jess told me later that one of her college friends had seen us together and tipped her off. She hadn't wanted to believe it, but my strange behavior over the last month, plus that weird phone call, had confirmed her suspicions. It wasn't that she didn't want me to have a girlfriend. She'd even tried setting me up before, but not with Sophia Reed. Never with her. Sophia flinched and instinctively moved behind me, her fingers gripping my shirt. Jess, calm down. Let's just talk about this. I really like her, I said, stepping forward, forcing myself to meet my sister's blazing eyes. Talk. What's there to talk about? I forbid it. You have a choice to make, Brian. Right now, it's her or it's me. She advanced on us, each step a hammer blow to my heart. Jess, I don't want to lose you. You're the most important person in my life. But I love Sophia. We're in love, I pleaded, my voice cracking. In love. Do you have any idea who she is? All we've ever done is fight. She's just doing this to win, to take you away from me. She's manipulative, and she'll stop at nothing to get what she wants. Jess was practically screaming now, her face flushed, veins standing out on her neck. Jessica, that's not fair. Sophia finally snapped, stepping out from behind me, her eyes flashing with anger and hurt. All that stuff from when we were kids was just that, kid stuff. How can you even compare that to this? I'm with Brian because I love him. It has nothing to do with you. Oh, please, Jess sneered. You expect me to believe that. I know your type. You see how close Brian and I are, and you just want to destroy it. Jess, you're wrong. Sophia's not like that at all. I interjected, desperate to defend her. These past few months, I've gotten to know the real her. She's kind and gentle, and she loves me with her whole heart. Kind, gentle. Brian, she's playing you. Jess was shaking with rage, pointing a trembling finger at Sophia. She puts on a good show for you. You have no idea what she's really like. You don't know the years of history between us. And you think you know me, Jessica? Sophia shot back, her own voice rising, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. You've been looking at me through the same hateful lens for 20 years. You have no idea who I am either. Don't try to twist this. Jess yelled. For the last year, you've been sabotaging me at every turn. Don't think I haven't noticed. What about that Omnicore project? I had them ready to sign, and you swooped in at the last minute and charmed them into signing with you instead. You're telling me that wasn't personal? It was a competitive bid, Jessica. Sophia retorted, her arms crossed defensively. They chose my proposal because it was better. And what about you? You've been undermining me, too. At that industry mixer last month, I was about to close a deal with a huge new partner, and you monopolized their time all night, leaving me standing there like an idiot. I lost the opportunity because of you. I only did that because you were spreading rumors that I was sleeping with him to get ahead. Jess's voice was raw with emotion, her eyes red. I never spread any rumors. People were already talking because you were being so obvious. Don't you dare pin your own mess on me. Sophia was crying now, furious and hurt. Whatever, Sophia. You can't stand to see me happy, and now you're trying to steal my brother. Jess was stomping her foot, her whole body trembling. Jess, soft, please, just stop. Ethan pleaded from the side, looking completely overwhelmed. Let's just all calm down and talk this through. But they were too far gone, lost in a storm of old wounds and fresh anger. Watching them tear into each other felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I knew nothing I could say would help. The only way to stop the bleeding was to get out. Enough. Both of you, just stop it. I shouted, my voice raw with pain. They both froze, staring at me, their faces a mixture of shock and hurt. I took a shaky breath. I can't do this. I can't watch you two destroy each other because of me. I'm leaving for a while. I think we all need to cool off, because as long as I'm here, you'll just keep fighting over me. Maybe when you've had some time to think, we can actually solve this like adults, instead of just hurting each other. Brian, no, don't go, Sophia cried, grabbing my arm, tears streaming down her face. We can fix this. Please don't leave me. Brian, you can't just leave, Jess said, her anger momentarily forgotten in a wave of panic. Don't do this. We can talk it out right here. We can't. Not like this, I said, my heart aching. I gently pulled my arm from Sophia's grasp, gave Jess one last look, and walked away. I heard Sophia's sobs and Jess calling my name behind me, but I didn't turn back. I knew, right then, that only distance and time could begin to heal this. Brian, wait. This isn't the answer. Ethan caught up to me, grabbing my arm. You can't just run away. They're both furious right now. If you leave, it'll only get worse. Ethan, I don't want to go, I said, stopping. The pain in my voice was obvious. But if I stay, I'll just be fuel for the fire. They need to cool down. I need to cool down. He sighed, finally letting go. He understood. Maybe with me gone, the real issues between them could finally surface. I drove until I hit the coast, ending up at my parents' place in San Diego. The salty air and the rhythmic crash of waves on the shore did little to soothe the storm inside me. My heart felt like a lead weight in my chest. My parents saw the look on my face and ushered me inside without a word. They knew something was wrong, but they let me be, just telling me to get some rest. That night, they came home early from work, and my mom made all my favorite foods. We sat around the dinner table in a heavy silence. I knew they were waiting for me to talk. Son, my dad said finally, his voice gentle. Whatever it is, you know this is always your safe harbor. Talk to us. I put down my fork and told them everything. The whole messy story of me, Jess, and Sophia. When I finished, the weight on my chest felt a little lighter, but the knot of pain and confusion was still there. Brian, love is complicated, my mom said, stroking my hair. You're caught in the middle, and that's a terrible place to be. Your sister has a temper, but she does it because she loves you and wants to protect you. And from what we've seen of Sophia, she's a wonderful girl. We've met her a few times. She's polite, smart, capable. Don't rush this. Just give everyone some time. But I don't want them to be like this because of me, I said, feeling helpless. They're both so important to me. I don't know what to do. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing, my dad said wisely. Leaving was the right call. Let them cool off. You stay here, clear your head. We're not going to call your sister. This is something you all need to figure out for yourselves. But we believe in you, son. You'll find a way to handle this. I just don't want to hurt either of them. I choked out. We know, sweetie, my mom said, pulling me into a hug. You have a good heart. That's what matters most. Relationships need time to work themselves out. Maybe after a while, Jess and Sophia will both see things differently. For now, just relax. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. She paused, a thoughtful look on her face. You know, she added, that Sophia girl has liked you for a very long time. She told us herself, but we told her it would only matter if you liked her back. What? I pulled back, stunned. Mom, you're saying Sophia liked me before all this? She never said anything. Oh yes. It was about 2 years ago, she said with a warm smile. She was so serious about it. She came to visit us, blushing like crazy, but her eyes were so determined. She said she'd fallen for a boy, and that boy was you. We teased her, asked her what she'd do if you didn't like her back. She just got this shy, stubborn look on her face and said she'd do her best to make you like her. That girl is the real deal, my dad added. For her to come to us like that, it wasn't some fleeting crush. She'd thought it through. She's a good kid, Brian. A keeper. Their words helped, but every walk I took on the beach, staring out at the endless ocean, my thoughts drifted back to Jess and Sophia. I knew this was just a temporary escape. Sooner or later, I had to go back and face the music. Over the next few weeks, Jess and Sophia both call me frequently. I also kept in touch with Ethan to get updates. Brian, your sister's been quiet since you left, he told me over the phone. She hasn't said much, but I can tell she regrets how she acted. She just stares into space a lot. I know she's worried sick about you. What about Sophia? Have you heard anything? I don't really know what's going on with her, but I'm sure this is hitting her hard too. She hasn't started any more fights with Jess. When are you thinking of coming back? Maybe another 2 weeks, I said, watching the waves from my window. I hope by then they've both had enough time to cool down. I can't stand things being so broken between us. 10 days later, Jess called me. Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying. Brian, where are you? Are you okay? I'm fine, Jess. Are you? The sound of her voice made my own eyes well up. I miss you, she said, her voice catching. I was awful that day. I was so impulsive. I shouldn't have taken my anger out on you and her. I'm so sorry. I could hear her quiet sobs over the phone. I was wrong too, Jess, I said, tears finally spilling down my cheeks. I shouldn't have hidden it from you for so long. When are you coming home? She asked, her voice still thick with emotion. We need to talk. Really talk. I don't want to lose you over this. Soon, Jess. I'll be home soon. Just take care of yourself. Okay? I knew then that we had a chance. It was a single ray of light in the darkness. A month after I left, I returned to Chicago, my heart a jumble of nerves and hope. I chose a quiet, cozy coffee shop for the three of us to meet. I arrived early, picking a table by the window. My hands fidgeted with a sugar packet, my heart thudding against my ribs. Finally, Jess appeared in the doorway. Her eyes widened when she saw me, a look of disbelief followed by a wave of raw emotion. Her eyes instantly filled with tears. She rushed toward me, her heels clacking unevenly on the wooden floor. "Brian," she cried out, her voice breaking as she crashed into my arms, holding on so tightly I could barely breathe. It was as if she was trying to fuse me to her to make sure I could never leave again. She buried her face in my shoulder, and hot tears soaked through my shirt, her body shaking with violent, suppressed sobs. "Do you have any idea how much I missed you?" she wept. "After you left, my world felt so empty. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't think. All I could see was us fighting. I'm so sorry. I was so stupid. Jess, I missed you too." I whispered, my own throat tight with emotion as I held her. Out there, all I could think about was you and Sophia, wondering how we let it get so bad. "You're my family, Jess. I never wanted to lose you, but I can't lose her either. I was wrong, Brian. I was so wrong," she said, still clinging to me. "I thought I was protecting you, but I was just pushing you away. I let all that old baggage poison everything. I never should have taken it out on you, too. It wasn't all you, Jess. I should have been honest from the start instead of hiding things." Just then, Sophia walked in. She hesitated at the door, her eyes wide with anxiety, looking like a frightened deer. She saw us looking at her, and her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came out. "Soph, come here," I said gently. Jess finally let go of me, turning to face Sophia, her eyes still red and puffy. "Jessica, I don't even know where to start," Sophia began, her voice trembling as she slowly approached our table. Tears welled in her eyes. "I am so sorry for all the pain I've caused you. We've known each other our whole lives. Thinking back on it now, all that fighting was so childish. I never should have let it carry over into our lives now." "Sophia, I'm the one who should be sorry," Jess said, stepping forward and taking Sophia's hands. "I held on to that stupid grudge for years. When I found out about you and Brian, all I could think about was not letting you win. I was selfish. I never once considered your feelings." "No, Jessica, it wasn't your fault," Sophia said, shaking her head. "We were both too proud, too stubborn to just talk. I know how much you love Brian, how you've always looked out for him. I just want you to know that my feelings for him are real. It was never about you or about winning. I truly love him. I want to build a life with him." "I know that now, Sophia," Jess said, her voice softening. "Brian told me everything. I can see how pure your love is. I shouldn't have let my own issues stand in your way. I hope you can forgive me for being so unreasonable." "I was never mad at you, Jessica," Sophia said, tears now streaming down her face as she hugged my sister. "I knew it was all just a big misunderstanding. Now that we've cleared the air, we can start over. As friends. As family." "Okay, Sophia, we'll start over," Jess sobbed, hugging her back tightly. "From now on, we're family. We'll protect Brian together. We'll protect our family." I watched them, a lump forming in my throat, and wrapped my arms around both of them. The heavy stone I'd been carrying for so long finally crumbled away. "Jess, Sophia, you have no idea how happy this makes me," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "This has been so hard on all of us. But it's over now. We're not going to be torn apart ever again. Whatever happens, we face it together." "That's right, Brian," Jess said, wiping her tears away with a smile. "No more fighting, and I fully expect to be front and center when you two get married." "Jessica, thank you," Sophia said, blushing, a radiant smile breaking through her tears. After that day, our lives bloomed. Jess and Sophia became the best of friends, the sisters they were always meant to be. They'd go shopping together, spend hours trying on clothes, their laughter echoing through the stores. It turned out that because their lives had run on such parallel tracks, they shared almost the same circle of friends. Before, their rivalry had made every social gathering an awkward nightmare. Now, everyone was just happy to see them finally at peace. "Soph, what do you think of this one?" Jess would say, holding a blue dress against Sophia. The color would look amazing on you. I love it. But that white one over there would be perfect for you, Sophia would reply, her smile genuine and bright. They shared secrets over afternoon tea in the garden, their quiet chatter a new, beautiful soundtrack to our lives. You know, Jess confided in Sophia one day, a mischievous glint in her eye. When Brian was little, he climbed a tree and got stuck. He just sat up there and cried. It was hilarious. No way, Sophia laughed. You must have been so worried. He was such a little troublemaker. I groaned from my seat nearby. Was nothing sacred? Ethan, sitting next to me, was trying his best not to laugh. That night, back at our apartment, I pulled Sophia close. So, I began, when did you first fall for me? Sophia froze. What? My parents told me everything, I said, kissing her softly. A deep blush spread across her cheeks. Well, she began, a nostalgic smile playing on her lips. The very first time I saw you, I felt something. You were just this lanky teenager, but you had this spark in your eyes. You probably don't even remember, but it was in the school library. You were looking for a book and getting so frustrated you couldn't find it. I was sitting nearby, watching you, and I just thought you were so cute and determined. My heart did this little flutter. So, it started all the way back then. I asked, amazed. I thought it was something that happened recently. Silly, she said, tapping my chest. Feelings like that start with a little seed. It was just a crush at first, but the more I saw you, the more I realized you were kind and brave and funny. Being around you made me happy. The feeling just got stronger and stronger until I knew I was in love. When you asked for my number that night, you have no idea how happy I was. I'm the lucky one, Soph, I said, holding her tighter. You know, she said, her voice soft. My relationship with Jess was so bad back then. We were like two porcupines. When I got the invitation to her birthday party, I almost didn't go. I held her hand, listening intently. But then I thought about you. I knew you'd be there, she said, her eyes shining with love. I spent the whole night looking for you. When I couldn't find you, I was so disappointed. But then Jess got drunk, and Chloe, who knew I had a huge crush on you, gave me Jess's phone and told me to call you. So, when I answered, I heard your voice, and I just felt this surge of hope. I sat right next to Jess, so you'd see me the second you walked in. I watched that door like a hawk. Every time it opened, I prayed it was you. And when I finally showed up, the whole room lit up, and then you walked over to me, and my heart nearly exploded. If I had known you liked me, I wouldn't have been so nervous, I said, gently nipping her lower lip. Oh, please, she scoffed playfully. You were so nervous you could barely talk to me. I thought you wanted me to leave you alone. No way, Soph. I was just trying not to be too obvious. I thought it was the first time we'd really met. The first time? She asked, her eyes widening. What do you mean? We'd seen each other dozens of times. I know, but only in passing. I just knew you were the beautiful, intimidating girl who was always competing with my sister. I never dared to think beyond that, I admitted, scratching my head. She laughed. You're such a dork. I guess it was my fault too. I was always too scared to be obvious. To think we were both being so careful, we completely missed each other. Well, we don't have to be careful anymore, I said, smiling and gently tapping her nose. We can be as obvious as we want. That's true, she said, snuggling into my chest. But you know, looking back, all that sneaking around was kind of exciting too. Every time I stole a glance at you, my heart would just go crazy. Looking down at the beautiful woman in my arms, my breath caught in my throat. Sophia sensed the change in me, but she didn't pull away. Instead, I gently pushed her back onto the pillows. She surrendered completely, letting me love her in every way I knew how. In the days and years that followed, our love only deepened. Jess and Sophia's friendship remained unbreakable. They were constantly planning things, spa days, cooking classes, art workshops, and then proudly showing off their creations to me and Ethan. And Ethan and I, we were thriving too, supporting each other in our careers, just like we had when we were kids. Sophia and I started building our future. We bought a house and filled it with things we both loved, from the soft sofa in the living room to the flowers she planted on the sun-drenched balcony. Every corner was a testament to our shared dreams. Finally, on a perfect, sunny day, I took her back to the Italian restaurant where we had our first date. I had it filled with flowers and balloons. When she walked in, she gasped. I walked toward her holding a bouquet of roses, my heart in my eyes. Saf, I began, from the moment we met, my life has been better in every way. Your love is the greatest gift I've ever received. You are the brightest star in my sky. I love you. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down her face as she nodded over and over. Yes, Brian, she choked out. Yes. The entire restaurant erupted in applause, a chorus of strangers celebrating our love. A few months later, we had a beautiful wedding. Jess and Sophia had picked out the dress together, and Sophia looked like a princess from a fairy tale. I stood at the altar in my tuxedo, and, in front of all our friends and family, I took her hand and promised her my forever. Married life was even better than I had imagined. We took long walks on the beach, watched movies curled up on the couch, and shared every joy and sorrow. Jess and Ethan's love story continued to unfold alongside ours, and our frequent get-togethers were always filled with laughter. And so, surrounded by love, we walked hand in hand through the seasons of our lives, writing our own beautiful story, one happy chapter at a time.